So, in case you wonder what I'm doing, streaming on TikTok and on YouTube, and then I'm going to upload it on the Spotify. I am on YouTube also, also on YouTube. But I do both at once, and then I can upload the audio over to Spotify. It's kind of weird because I can see myself out of the corner of my eye on the screen over here. And Windows have to get a couple different screens. That'll work. Can y'all hear me okay? Bam, can you hear me over there? Okay, cool. Yeah, and see, I didn't think about that. I was trying to figure out a way to do the music, but there's certain things you can do on TikTok where they'll ban you on YouTube for that like. So yeah, it's like, but that's what it is. If y'all see me looking away, I'm looking over at the YouTube. Appreciate it, Cowboy. All right, what about now? Is that better? Yeah, I had the damn volume turned down. Oh, what's everybody been up to? Y'all had a good day? Good night? Good day at work? Good day at not work? Went shopping. Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, I'm living the dream. Living the dream. This whole setup and everything that we've been doing lately has been 6 years, almost 7 years in the making. So we're finally here. Finally here. I wanted to do this a long time ago. We'd even toyed around with the fact of me um, doing public speaking events and stuff like that. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see where it goes. I'm not stopping with it though. It's going to keep going. If anything you put on the internet, that's forever. The It goes out everywhere. It's seen and it lasts forever. So I've never I've never been big on clout. I've never been big on doing things just to gain popularity or followers or anything like that. So it is what it is. I'm going to put it out there. Hopefully, a bunch of people will see it, and we'll see. We will see. I wouldn't mind it growing that way. It would reach out further, but that's not the most important thing. So, secretary will be busy. Well, yeah, that's what I'm hoping for anyway. Gotta gotta cut the boredom for you. That way you don't get bored. So tonight, like I said the other day, it's just going to be kind of a rundown. I keep dropping that damn thing. It's going to be kind of a rundown of what we're going to be doing, what we're going to be, well, different areas that we're going to be trying to help out, and what we're going to try to stop. We're going to try to stop a lot of stuff on a couple areas, mainly with the kids. I mean, the the fact of the matter is, it's been going on for pedophilia has been around for thousands of years. You know, nowadays you've got politicians and billionaires paying to cover it up. So that's why we need as many people to stand up and finally fight and talk. Don't be afraid to stand on a street corner with a sign. Don't be afraid to petition your local officials. Don't be afraid to. I mean, it's the only way. It's the only way anybody's ever going to learn that we're fed up with bullshit. That's it. I've got. I wrote down a bunch of stuff that I want to talk about over the next 3 months, and it's not even scratching the surface of things that we can talk about. And you're right. The first step of everything is awareness. I mean, they're starting to do death penalties for cases with children. That's I've been hoping for that for God as long as I can remember. I've been dealing with CPS and child cases and domestic violence issues for going on 25 years now. 25 years. And the amount of the amount of things that I've seen, the amount of things that I've seen kids go through, women go through, men go through, it it's really disgusting. Um, I'll give you an example. So my mom had called with a woman that was suffering from mental health issues due to domestic violence, and she had called me needing help getting her out and her baby out. So I went to go try to help her, and when we got there, paramedics were there, police were there, and the woman, the mental instability that she suffered from due to domestic violence, made her, in a way, delusional. Um, because when we got there, she had put her, um, she had put her 2 month old baby in the microwave because she thought she was cooking supper. Um, this is the kind of stuff that we need to get these people help with. We need to prevent a lot of it, try to prevent it, try to stop it when we see it. Um, that's part of the stuff I'm going to talk to you about also. I told everybody the other day that I'm going to tell you my full story as to why I feel the way I do about everything I do. Why I take it so seriously, why a lot of things I do um, off the app, because I don't do it for I don't do that part of it for recognition. I don't care about all that. Um, I'm doing this on YouTube and on TikTok and Spotify for awareness. Just try to get people off their fucking asses and finally speak. I mean, shit. Everything that we've seen come out here lately, whether you want to believe it or not, is nothing new. But everything keeps coming out and keeps coming out, but you still see people not saying a fucking word. The only reason why people are alerted of it right now is because it's been brought to light on the news. They said the other day that the cover up that we're dealing with now has gone back as far as 4 presidents. 4. So we've elected in office 4 presidents that turn a blind eye to the bullshit, just like the one sitting in office right now. And the fucked up part about it is, in the Constitution, it talks about how we as American people have the right to overthrow our government. But the problem with that, when they enacted martial law, if we were to try that, that's exactly what would happen. That would be their answer to it. But I'm telling you, they need to walk everybody out of Washington and start over with real people. Real people like you and me, everyday blue collar workers. Put those people in fucking office and see what happens. Man, it's just fucking disgusting. And I'll tell y'all tonight, like I did the other day, YouTube is scrolling like crazy. Um, if I miss something, if y'all say something, I really apologize because when I get to talking, I don't really pay attention to the comments. I really don't. But um, I've got moderators on both TikTok and YouTube, and if something comes across, if you got a question, I will definitely get back to you after it's over. I'll shoot you a message. We can talk about it. Um, but I think what I'm trying to say is a little more. Um, Not that what you're saying isn't important, but the message I'm trying to get out is, and you and I can talk later. Also, like I said the other night on my live, I don't want drama. I don't want any crap brought in here. If you've got legitimate questions and you've got legitimate statements, that's fine. That's fine. But I'm not going to deal with a bunch of drama because the things that we're talking about having to do with the kids and men's mental health does not have room for that bullshit. Not at all. So you respect me, I'll respect you, and we'll get along. So I think I'm ready to tell everybody why I do what I do. There are very few people that know my entire story. Very few. Um, my dad, my dad didn't find out some things that happened to me till I was 42 years old. Um, I just never talked. I never. A lot of that stuff is stuff that I wanted to bury, but in turn, it's a lot of that stuff is what made me who I am. Um, yeah. So here we go. Um, when I was 3 years old, my mom and dad got a divorce, and it was a pretty rough divorce. Um, I still remember a lot of the fights from 3 years old. My mom hit my dad in between the eyes with a set of keys because he threw a shopping cart at her, and yeah, she wanted him to remember her. Well, he did because he died with that scar between his eyes. Um, after the divorce, I had stayed with my grandparents, my mom's mom and dad, for a short period of time because it was like I don't know. It was like 6 months or so after that. Uh, my dad's mom and dad came and got me. So my dad had taken full custody of me because my mom had taken off. My mom went through several relationships, um, went through quite a bit of drug issues, quite a bit of drinking issues. There was one time in particular that my dad had came to pick me up, and the door to my mom's apartment was open, and I was sitting at the bottom of these steps that go up to the apartment, sitting beside a guy, and I had nothing on but a diaper. And my dad had told me that the guy was trying to um, give me pills, was trying to feed me pills. So when my dad went upstairs to see where my mom was, she was laid across the bed with a needle in her arm, and that was that was probably the last time I saw her for uh, probably about 3 years, something like that, because she had took off again, and I had no idea where she was at. And at that age, when you're that little, you really don't pay much attention to that stuff. I do remember wanting to know where she was at. Um, Went through some issues with that because I always wondered why she abandoned me. And my dad, my dad couldn't stand her, so he always put his 2 cents in. So after I'd been with my dad for a while, my dad was one of those men that um, he would he would come in the house and wouldn't really have much interaction with you. He worked a whole lot. I'll give him that. Um, but not a whole lot of interaction. I had more interaction from my grandparents. My grandparents were the ones that taught me things and showed me what was right. You know what I mean? So when my mom came back around, um, she was with a new guy, and seemed okay for a little while. Like most of them do. He got to where he would come in the door, and if things were out of place in the house, or something was moved that he didn't want moved, he'd slam her head against the wall, or he would punch her in the mouth, or something like that. And then he would allow his buddies to come over, and they would get high and get drunk, and he'd allow them to talk to my mom any way they wanted to. And there was one of his friends, I cannot remember this guy's name to save my life, but they owned kind of like a carpet laying business at the time, a flooring business. So, well, that's interesting. Huh. So my live access on TikTok just got taken down. Wow. Wow. Huh. Wonder why. Oh, you sensitive ass bitch. Sorry, y'all. What the heck? That's so stupid. That is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. I know they're saying that they're saying they don't promote violence and they don't promote all this other bullshit. It must have been when I was talking about when he walked in and would punch my mom in the mouth. It's the only thing I can think of. What a piece of shit. So I will tell you all this probably after tonight I'm done with TikTok. Um, because it is a worthless fucking app. Between the drama bullshit that goes on, their double standard that they fucking hold. I can't sit on here and talk about what happened to me in detail, but they can allow half naked women to shake their ass just to get notoriety on a fucking app. Yeah, they can kiss my whole ass. So if y'all go see my account and it's gone tomorrow, you know why. So where was I at? Oh, so they used to take me. They would take me on some of the jobs I did with the carpet business, and the guy I can't remember his damn name. There was one guy in particular that he would offer me like like snacks and candy and stuff like that. Then he would try to get me to smoke a cigarette and try to get me to drink a beer and all this stuff. Well, at the time, I didn't know. I was a kid. I took a drink of a beer, trying to be cool, and turned out that same guy was the one that molested me and continued to do so for I don't know 3 or 4 years. Um, Not a lot of people know that about me. Like I said, my dad didn't even find out till I was in my 40s. But it continued with him, and then in between there, um, one of his buddies was also involved. So him and the guy that my mom was with, they split up. Uh, she finally got away from him. After they split up, she took off again, like she always did, and didn't hear from her for probably 6 years, 5, 6 years, something like that. And she had come back and moved probably about I don't know, probably about 30 minutes away from where I was at my grandparents' house. And she had moved in with another guy. And this one here, um, he was a lot worse. Well, fuck it. I'll just go ahead and tell you. His name was Gary Stockton. He lives in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, if he's still alive. I hope he's not, and I hope he's suffering really bad. But, there you go. There's your name. um, he would, if my mom didn't cook the right things or didn't clean the house the right way or do everything that he asked her to do, including illegal things, he would beat her till she was unconscious. He was the reason why she had to have multiple surgeries on her ears. She had to have her jaw reconstructed, um, one of her arms, no, one of her elbows. You know how you take a stick and break it across your knee. Well, he did her arm that way one time. Um, so she kept that away from my grandparents. That way I would still be allowed to come over there. And when I tell you it wasn't the environment for a kid, it's not the environment for fucking anybody, to be honest with you. There were so many drugs that came in and out of that house that he was selling. Um, he was running prostitution out of there. They using stolen or selling stolen car parts. He had a chop shop in the back. He is also the man that showed me the first time what murder looks like. Um, over the course of the years, he had killed, that I remember, killed 5 people in front of me. One of which he was trying to use as a lesson to teach me how. And those were his exact words. I want to show you how. And he did. So every time he would do this, he would beat my mom because she would be freaking out. And then he would beat my mom and make her clean it up. And then threaten to kill me and beat me if I didn't help her. As far as what happened to him, to the ones that he killed after that, I have no idea. I have no idea. Um, I don't even know who they were. I know they were customers of his that were over there either buying parts or buying stolen parts or buying drugs. So I have no idea. um, that that went on for, I was probably 15, somewhere around there, 15 years old, I guess. And she had got away from him and went right into another relationship. Right right into another abusive relationship. Well, at the time he started out for about 6 months. He was really good. And this one here kind of hit a little bit because he was the brother of my best friend. He was the older brother of my best friend. So in a way I kind of set him up. Um, and I'll go ahead and say his name too, because I know for a fact that piece of shit's still alive. His name's Wayne Eugene Bowman. He lives in Livingston, Tennessee. And I want to put this little tidbit out there for you there, Wayne. I'm not the little boy that you remember. I'm not that naive little kid that went through a lot of shit before I even met you. And if you're not dying already, I really hope you suffer. I really fucking hope you suffer. And you and your little buddy, fucking Michael, um, yeah, he can go right along with you because he was there the night all the shit happened. So, mm, 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 mm. So anyway, I hooked them two up basically, and he had got to where he would threaten me a whole lot, beat her on a daily basis, and my grandmother was alive at the time, and she was threatening to have him arrested. So they took off and went to Pennsylvania, I think it was, because that's where him and his piece of shit mom and the rest of his low life fucking family's from. So they went up there and stayed for a little while, and they came back, and my mom had got away from him, and she moved in with my grandmother. And at the time, um, I'd moved in with her, So we're sitting in the apartment, and he showed up. He had showed up and was knocking on the door. And me, as a teenager, I was sitting on my grandmother's couch, and I loaded a 12 gauge shotgun, and I told my mom to open the door. And I was dead serious. I don't remember much of what my mom said. I don't remember anything my grandmother said because at that point I was basically zoned out. I was I was in a different realm, I guess. I don't know. But I was ready to split him in half. And that's not the first time. Let me back up a little bit. So when her and Wayne got together, Wayne, trying to be the big shot that he thought he was, which he's not, he's a weak ass bitch. He had grabbed a double barrel sawed off shotgun and gave me an AK-47. Put my mom in the passenger seat of the car, put me in the back seat, and we drove to Gary's house, the one that beat her before. And that was the actual first time that I actually snapped because my mom was screaming and crying, telling Wayne to stop, and I didn't hear anything. I just remember rolling the back window down because Gary was out in his yard mowing the yard. And I remember rolling the window down and unloading that whole clip towards the house. I know I didn't hit him, but because he took off, but all this kind of ties into, kind of what kids go through. I mean, kids, it's crazy. And you don't really realize it, I guess, until you've been there. Um, I've seen a lot of workers with kids not really take it that serious, and they really should, because me personally, dealing with the mental side of all that, the PTSD, the nightmares I used to have, it's it's unreal. And I've just now gotten to where I've let go of a lot of stuff because I held on to that, every bit of that, for years. Now, granted, like I said earlier, it's a lot of that has made me who I am today, but a lot of that has restricted me in a lot of ways also. So, yeah, like I said, I unloaded that clip, and whenever Wayne saw that I didn't hit him, he hopped out with the double barrel shotgun, went to the front door. I heard two pops, and that's all I remember. I don't know if he hit him. I don't know what happened. Um, so we left and went on our way. I went back to my grandmother's, and my mom my mom had disappeared. Nobody knew where she was at. Her phone, she was gone. And that's what my grandmother and my aunt and myself were thinking. There for a long time we thought Wayne killed her. Thought he killed her and took off, and we'd never see her again. Um, so it was probably three. It was probably 3 or 4 months later. I got a phone call, or my grandmother got a phone call, but she wanted to talk to me, and it was my mom. And she was in the hospital, and Wayne was sitting beside her in the hospital. And of course, I was happy she was alive. I was like, it's great to hear from you. I wish, what's going on, what's wrong, asking questions. So the story that I got, because Wayne was sitting beside her, um, she said that they had partied for 3 days and they had got a little rough having sex, and she was in the hospital having to get sewn up. I was like, I didn't want to hear all that, hearing that shit about my mom, but you know, and I remember telling her, as long as you're okay and everything's good. Well, I heard Wayne laughing in the background, and I told my mom, because you could hear it in her voice that she wasn't okay, and I told my mom to keep him there, and he heard what I said. Well, he started laughing, and that is something that is burned in me and will never leave till the day I die. Knowing what he did to her, and then sat there and laughed about it. So I'm going to tell you why this bothers me so bad, why he laughed. And I want to go ahead and give you a trigger warning. If you're easily triggered, please turn the volume down, bounce out, or and come back in, whatever you got to do. So what had actually happened was he had took her out to his friend Michael's house. And I know Michael's last name because he was in the same grade as me. Went to the same high school. But he had took her to Michael's house and held her hostage there for 3 days, beat her repeatedly, raped her repeatedly. And the final day, he had raped her with a broken beer bottle. So they put her in the bathtub so she wouldn't bleed out everywhere. So she was bleeding in the bathtub. And after begging and begging and begging him to take her to the hospital, he finally did. She she almost died on the way to the hospital. Um, Almost died while she was in the hospital. And I didn't find out about that part for, a little while after. But she had always made me promise that I'd never do anything to him. And I haven't, as bad as I want to. Oh, as bad as I want to. Um, so she got out of the hospital. He took off because they tried to, her and my grandmother tried to have him brought up on charges. And by the way, he's a pedo. Didn't find that out till they tried to file charges. But the only charge, they never charged him with it. Never did. Even when my mom did the police report, gave written statements, gave everything she had to do, the medical reports, everything. They never even looked at it. The only thing they looked at was the fact that he had sexually assaulted a 15-year-old girl right after he did that to mom. They charged him with that. Charged him with statutory rape. Gotta love the fucking justice system. But um, after she got away from him, my mom she went into a shelter, and She was in that shelter for quite a while. Went through, I couldn't tell you how many hours of counseling, how many hours of doctor's visits and rehab and reconstructive surgeries, and it was so much that she had got to the point where she wasn't wanting to be around anymore. Between the physical that she was having to deal with and the mental that all those past relationships had put her through, plus the recent ones, she was done. She just didn't want to do it anymore. So she continued with the shelter, and this was years on down the road. I had I had gotten out of school, started working, um, doing my thing, you know, young in my young 20s, doing my thing. So with me, I turned to street gangs and different aspects of selling dope and selling weed and doing what I had to do to make some money. Um, and I also had a legitimate job, believe it or not. But my mom had called me out of the blue one day and asked me to come to Nashville. And I told her, I said, Mom, you know I'm not allowed to come down there because it's a women's shelter. And she said, No, I want you to meet me outside the gate. I want to talk to you about something. So I did. I went down there, of course, to see my mom. And that's when she had asked me to help her with the shelter because I didn't know at the time my mom had went into being a counselor there for new intake patients and stuff like that. So I was like, sure, you know, I mean, I'll help. And the really messed up part about that is I kind of back then, sorry, um, back then, I'd kind of taken it, I'd kind of taken it lightly, like, I'm going to go help mom do some shit. That's kind of the way I looked at it back then. But um, it really turned into seeing a lot of shit I wish I hadn't have. The the hardest thing in the world that I've had to deal with is watching CPS take kids away, screaming and crying and begging for their mom when all their mom did was call for help. The mom was in an abusive relationship. She called for help. When she called for help, CPS come in and took the kids out of the home. I get keeping the kids safe. I get that. But I think there needs to be something deeper looked into that. The mom didn't do anything wrong. So there's been a lot of aspects over the years that have broke my fucking heart in half. But on the same token, there's a lot of aspects that have pissed me off beyond belief. You know how excited I was to see the fact that Florida is cooking motherfuckers now for doing things to kids under 12, just like Alabama. And you can ask anybody that I've dealt with since Silence started. I've been wanting that shit from day one. day one. I honestly think that on any DV case, any sexual assault, anything having to do with the kids, you should get either the death penalty or at the least life. Because I don't want them motherfuckers walking around. I know nobody else does. I don't want people like that around my kids. But sorry, I usually veer off a little bit sometimes when I get to talking. But I helped my mom help my mom do that for good God, a long time up until it got to where she couldn't. And me and my mom, we never had the best relationship in the world. Never did. Um, but probably, I don't know, probably 10 or 12 years before she passed, she had gone through 15 to 20 surgeries, reconstructive surgeries. Um, I don't know. I couldn't tell you how many hours of counseling. And me and my mom finally connected the way we should have. She owned up to a lot of stuff, and she took her accountability with me, and I let it go. I don't blame my mom for anything that I went through, because just like when she would take off all those times, my mom wasn't in the right space to be a mom. She really wasn't. And I feel as though her taking off and leaving me with my grandparents was the best for me. So, me and my mom, we buried all that before she passed. And, even up until she died, due to the things that were done to her, she had a colostomy bag, she had a urine bag, uh, couldn't hear out of her right ear. She couldn't hardly use her right hand. Well, I mean, her left hand was already messed up. She messed it up, got bucked off of a horse. But her right hand was messed up because it got broken. Um, her elbow wouldn't straighten all the way out, where Gary had broken it. Um, her vision in her left eye, where she'd been punched so many times, was at a minimum. I mean, she couldn't hardly see out of her left eye. Uh, and there were a lot of times that I would get mad at her, because if me and her were around each other for any extended amount of time, we would butt heads. I mean, we would go at it. And at the time, that was before I understood about triggers and um, things that can really play into PTSD and mental trauma. I didn't understand all that back then. So she dealt with that up until the day she died. And yeah, but like I said, I don't regret anything in my life, not at all. Um, because everything that's happened to me in my life has brought me right here. I've I've put away a lot of demons that I've dealt with for years. I've let go of a lot of stuff. I said a lot of hard goodbyes to people that I really didn't want to, but I had to. Um, and I'm probably this is the best I've ever been. I'm more focused. I'm more relaxed. I don't have worries anymore. I don't stress over I just don't stress over anything. I've set a lot of boundaries in place, and people can cross them and find out what happens because I'm not dealing with it. You can either choose to be in my life the way I am right now and choose to be a positive part of my life, or I am flat out going to cut you out and treat you like a stranger. So, all the stuff with my mom, my dad, everything that I went through built me to a certain point, and then I had to let go of a lot. And that's where I'm at now. So, that is the story of Platt. That is the story of Platt. Yeah, yeah. I'm like everybody else. I've done a lot of fucked up shit in my life. I've made mistakes, but I don't regret none of it. I don't regret not a single moment of it because the mistakes I made were lessons. I've been in fucked up relationships that were lessons, and I've had to deal with some messed up stuff. Seeing some messed up shit, but it's kind of prepared me for what we're doing now because I don't some of the stuff that we see dealing with the kids and some of the stuff with men's mental health. I don't think I would be able to handle it just being brought into it, just being brought into it raw. And the men's mental health side, I wouldn't know how to relate to anybody. I wouldn't know how to relate to any of the men that are going through stuff if I hadn't experienced it myself. So I'm going to turn my head for a minute and I'm going to look over here at the chat because I have whole ass not even looked at it. So hang on. Okay. Yeah, thanks for saying she was an amazing woman. She really was. My mom got dealt a bad deal. She really did. She got a shitty hand. I know you're looking at the side of my head. I know. I'm trying to read. Okay. So, like I said, I'm probably going to be done with TikTok after tonight. That's completely bullshit. I don't even know what to think right now. Don't even know what to think. And you know what's funny is you can get on TikTok and you can say pedophile, and they'll ban your video or they'll block it. But yet they allow uh, pedophile lives don't matter T-shirts to be sold in their TikTok shop. Maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I need to put a price tag every time I mention a fucking pedophile. Maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe then TikTok will be happy. I don't. I don't give a fuck. But let's see. I've been uh, I've been rambling on for about an hour, and I said the other day that I'm going to try to hold everything to about an hour. But I want to show y'all. Like I said, we're going to cover things having to do with kids and also the men's mental health side. And the way we're going to do it is I'm going to alternate weeks. Um, like next Monday at 7, I am doing a um, my what I'm speaking about is the history of pedophilia, how far back it goes, what all it's involved, some of the people that were involved. And then the following week is going to be on men's mental health. So I hope y'all come back. I really do. I hope you come back next Monday and check me out. I got some tweaking to do with the camera thing because this whole looking this way and shit is kind of messing with me, but I'll get it figured out. I'll get it figured out. But didn't mean to trigger anybody if I did. Uh, that's never my intention. I just felt that y'all needed to hear that. Y'all needed to know about me. And like I said, a lot of people don't know that. There's very few that know that entire thing. So, yeah. But I hope y'all have a good week. And I'll be putting some videos on YouTube. I'm going to see what TikTok's issue is and give them the finger. But um, I hope you have a good week. Get ready for next Monday at 7. I'm also going to upload this one onto Spotify as I'm going to do all of them. But yeah, I hope to see you there. And if y'all have anything that comes up, like I said, our email, our toll free number is in my bio on YouTube. We also have the PO box on there now, so I really would love some submissions for the book. Like I said, I want them handwritten, and it's just your story that we're going to put in there. Your handwritten story is going to be in this book. Kind of like what I just did tonight, telling mine is basically what I'm asking everybody to do. If you'll do it, I'm no pressure because I get it. This shit was hard. It's not easy to talk about. But no hard feelings if you don't want to. But I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, you can send them to the PO box. You can even email them if you have to scan them and email them. You can do it that way. So yeah, from all of us at Silence is Not an Option for Us, good night, and I will see you next Monday.